Law Systems Education. My name is Greg Weaver, and this is ENG4E, Grade 12 Workplace English. I'd like to welcome everyone listening across the North State at home, your learning center, or in Bell Express U. To call and join our class, and call 1-800-465-7144 or 737-4017 or 2983 in the Sioux Lookout, Lac Seul, or Dryden areas. I'd like to welcome everyone back to class today. This is our last class of the week. And remember, next week is our last week of classes. It turns out I will probably not be going to Satchko Lake at all next week. I can't find a time that works out for all the teachers going. So we'll probably have class all next week. We will be finishing up early. And since we are, we will be doing a bunch of review of some of the big ideas and the key concepts that we looked at. Additionally, I also need to let you know that if you are still working on the course and you're in the radio class, your deadline is the 19th of June. If you're in the IL section, IL deadline is next Friday to get all of your work in. Now, if you are if you're not sure you'll get it done in time, and you're not planning on graduating, we can set up an extension for sure. If you are planning to graduate, we will try to get it done, but you can't get an extension for that. So keep that in mind as you're booking your work done. I am getting a bunch of work from students now, and I'm getting it marked and back normally same day. I had a student in Webequay hand in work yesterday, and I marked them back today. If you do have any questions, you're not sure, if you just want to see how you're doing, feel free to give me a call. But you can have us all day tomorrow from 8:30 to 2:30 or 9:30 to 3:30 if you're in Fort Hope, Webequay, or Fort Severn. And as well, we should be around most of the weekend if you have any questions at that time as well. So with all that, we're going to get into what we started yesterday. And we started looking at Unit 4. And we started with Lesson 16. And so the whole of Unit 4 is design and is structured on the idea that you may have to leave your home community for work. So you're leaving, you have to move to Red Lake, Sioux Lookout, Kenora, Dryden, Thunder Bay, Winnipeg. You have to move somewhere in order to get a job. That's what everything is based around and built around. So we're going to look at leases and looking at and finding an apartment to live in, as well as looking at the cost to own a car, and owning a car and leasing a car. And then we'll look at preparing resumes, cover letters, and preparing for interview questions, as well as looking at different jobs. So we're starting up today. We're starting actually looking at lease at trying to find a place to live and the different kind of like different costs of things. It is very depending on where you live. So we're picking up on a unit at the top of page 7. So page 6. So looked at yesterday at different things that could affect where you live and what you look at. So before you sign a lease, you want to check the apartment for any damage or safety problems. This is important for 2 reasons. You don't want to be held responsible for any damage you didn't cause, and you want an apartment that's safe to live in. Take photos and make a video of present damage, date them, and then get the landlord to sign. Insist that any problems be corrected before you move in. And just look around, see what's there. There's a little bolded list we went through yesterday, looking at what has to be included. It's required by law that apartments have smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. Find out where the mailbox is. It's in the central location. You have to go community mailbox or to the post office. Where is it? When I lived in Thunder Bay, there was a mailbox drop-off in the apartment building. I know most places in Sioux Local, you have to go to the post office, to your post box, in order to get your mail. Think of look at lighting, locks, and is there any mold in the bathroom or along the window? It's a good sign that there could be some issues with the place. So once you decide you find a apartment you like, you want to rent it. Your landlord will ask you to sign a rental agreement, which is called a lease. No, a lease is a legally binding agreement between a landlord and a tenant. It's supposed to include your name, the landlord's name, the address of the apartment, the amount of rent, and the payment schedule. When do you pay it and how much is it? Your lease may contain the following rules. Not all do. We will look at more in-depth at leases. In our next lesson, we're going to look at a sample lease, as well as some different parts to it. So maybe it contain rules for subletting. Who's responsible for certain repairs? If the toilet clogs, who fixes that? If there's water leaking through the wind, if water leaks in, who fixes that? Things like that. Rules about pets. What are the rules? Can you have them? Are they not allowed? In Ontario, a landlord cannot say a place is pet free. However, they can charge you extra for a pet, but they can't say apartment's pet free. What appliances are included? Normally, if it's an apartment, standard appliances that are included are a stove and a range, and a fridge are the only parts that are included with the lease. And you have to provide your own microwave if you want one, and any small appliances like a toaster or things like that. Who pays the heat and utilities? Depending where you're living, this varies. When I was in Thunder Bay, I did have to pay for water or sewer. That was included in the cost of my lease, but I did have to pay hydro or pay the heat, and It was electric heat, so you pay for your heating else for the use of your stove. What physical changes can you make or may not be allowed to make in the apartment? An example, the most common example of that is painting. Can you paint the walls to a different color? Normally, rooms are painted just a standard light cream or beige or an off-white. Some people like to paint them differently. If you do, is that allowed? Some places say no. Some say yes. If you do, you have to paint it back to the original color. And then the last thing is what happens if you break the lease. So we'll look more in depth at these in our next lesson. We'll probably get to that later today. So make sure you read your lease very carefully before you sign it. Find out what you expect from your landlord and ways of repairs, for example, and get it in writing. Laws about landlord-tenant requirements and relationships vary from province to province. If you have an argument with your landlord, contact the municipal housing agency to find out what course of action may be able to you. In Ontario, most rental agreements fall under the Landlord-Tenant Act. And that's the land that governs rentals in Ontario. There are certain times that you probably may not fall under that. The most common one that occurs is if your landlord lives in the same apartment as you. So let's say you're renting a room from someone in someone's house. You're renting the room. You're not renting the entire place. And because of that, normally landlord-tenant wouldn't apply if you share a kitchen and or a bathroom. It's always a good idea to have a lawyer available in case you want to add or delete a certain clause in the lease. Most landlords won't let you do that. It's a set lease, but you can always negotiate with them. For example, you may want to put a clause that says let's have a lease if your employer moves you out of town. Most landlords will not won't change their lease. But if that think of a problem, they may want to look at signing a different kind of lease. Never sign a lease that you're not happy with any part of. You and your landlord must both need to know your welfare is protected. For your landlord, this probably means a security deposit from you, usually the amount of 1 or 2 months' rent. A security deposit guarantees your landlord that any damage which is done to the apartment while you're living there will be paid for. Landlord may also keep the security deposit if you don't pay your rent or leave before the end of your lease. But security deposits are refundable if you're for your lease agreement and your apartment good repair. Most provinces, landlord must list any deductions from your security deposit. In addition, some provinces insist that security deposits be kept in separate accounts for the tenant and the money earns interest. That is the case here in Ontario. When you give a security deposit, you have to get it back with interest or give a list of deductions that for the reasons why you're not getting it back. Normally, security deposit is either equivalent to 1 month's rent, or sometimes it's a month and a half's rent. The apartment I had in Thunder Bay, our security deposit was $1,000, but our rent was only $650. So we paid a bit more. We paid a bit less than 1.5 times for a security deposit. So for you, that's the renter. Security comes in the form of renters or tenants insurance. Policies normally cover the following: any damage to personal property by fire or wind, any theft, any personal responsibility in the event that you are sued over accident injury over others from your apartment, any damage caused to private others in your care, and living expense if you're forced to live somewhere else, apartments being repaired. Another thing you want to keep in mind living in an apartment is if there is you have friends over and the friends are loud and the friends are noisy and you get complaints. Whether they're in the apartment or not, if your name is on the lease, you're the one that gets the complaint. And there has been times that police have been called, and you can get fines for noise complaints. So keep that in mind as well when you're renting. You're responsible for all the people you bring into your apartment as well. Now, for the tenant insurance, policies may differ for insurance company to insurance company and laws of your province. The list above is an example of possibilities. Check with your insurance broker or insurance company to decide what type of plan is best for your needs and for your situation. So first, our first questions. These questions are all based on what we just read about in our unit and on some common knowledge or inference that you can draw from your own experiences or what you've seen on in media. So the first one says list 5 useful methods you can draw upon when looking for an apartment. Number 2 is how much of your monthly income should you spend on rent? Give an example from the article to support your answer. 3 is why is it important to have an apartment that's close to where you work? 4, explain why it's important to have an apartment in a safe neighborhood. 5 is in point form. Describe different parts of a lease. 6, list 7 that you should look for in a new apartment before you sign a lease. And then 7 is what is subletting. And then finally, 8 is what does apartment rent insurance cover? So these is our first set of questions for Unit 4. These are pretty easy. I expect that you can probably get these done probably in 15-20 minutes. And then key question 47 says is you're going to think of reasons why you may want to break a lease. So we're going to take a bit of a break. I want you to get started with key question 46. And then think about what would be some reasons why you would want to break a lease on an apartment. So think of both of those, and we'll come back in about 5 minutes, and we'll talk about it then. I will talk to you then. See a bit. Started looking at key questions 46 and thinking about 47. We're going to do now. We're going to work through key question 47 now, and we're going to try and get it done tonight. If we don't, we'll start picking up on Monday. So it says, for the purpose of this question, you're assigned a 1-year lease on an apartment in Sioux Lookout. You've noticed there are several issues with the apartment and with the activities of the neighbors. You have 2 tasks in this key question. The first is to make a list of issues or concerns that would force you to break your lease on the apartment. What would it take for that to happen? In several short paragraphs, give the reasons and explain why these reasons would force you to break your lease. Each reason should be its own paragraph. So we'll come up with 5 reasons for 3 marks each. We'll do some brainstorming right now. And then after that, you're going to choose some of those, and you're going to write a formal letter to your landlord, notifying them that you're breaking your lease, and the reasons why. Your letter should be dated and follow proper letter format. We'll look more at that later in this unit, but it should be a refresher from grade 11. If you need you want to double check it, you can always check down in lesson 19, because look at it then. Use formal writing when you draft your letter. It should be a page long and be double spaced. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to just try and think about what could be some reasons why you would break your lease. What could happen? What could occur that would force that to happen? So we're going to write some ideas up here on the board and see what we can come up with. So what could be one reason why you would break your lease? So one reason could be um, if there's drug abuse or by your neighbors. That's tends to be really really big concerns that comes up. People don't know that their neighbors use drugs, and they don't want if they have little kids, when like the kids exposed to it. Another reason is there's noisy neighbors. To make a lot of noise, they party all night to keep people up. This happened to me in Thunder Bay. We had neighbors above us were always banging. We're always banging around and having parties almost every single day. And it got so much that we actually had to move out because it was just too noisy. Another reason could be you have a new job. One reason for that could be you have a new job, either out of town or depending on where you live. Say it is farther away, and you can't walk. You can't walk to it, and since there's no public transit and Sioux Lookout, it's hard to get around. Another reason that I've seen students write about before is as we call it change in their relationship status. So it's either if you moved in without a partner, you found a boyfriend or girlfriend and you want to move in together, but maybe your place is too small, or conversely, you had a partner and you guys have since broken up, and you can't afford to live in the place on your own. You just can't afford it. And then another one could be I'm going to be very general here and go repair or maintenance issues. So there's mold everywhere, or there's a leak that has yet to be fixed. Or there is a broken window that still needs to be fixed, or there's the driveway is not being shoveled, and you slipped and fell and hurt yourself. And there's just something like that. There's just general repair and maintenance issues that still haven't been addressed. Those are some of the most common reasons why people break leases. What you want to do is, and you want to take each of those and explain those. So look at those ideas and then explain why that would make you change your mind about your partner and move out. So I'm looking for probably 3 to 4 sentences for each idea, and they'll become their own paragraph. And now part 2 is you're going to write a letter to your landlord notifying you're breaking your lease and the reason why. Your letter should be dated and follow proper letter format. Use formal writing when you draft your letter. Should be 1 page long and be double spaced. What I would like you to do is to think through this question tonight. When we come into class on Monday, we will quickly review letter format just so you have the right format. But I want you to come up with your ideas as to why you'd move out. Maybe choose 2 or 3 from the list you have there. You're doing for number 1. Maybe expand them a bit more. Make it a bit more personal. And then We'll come in on Monday. We'll go through the letter format, how to have it structured and set up. We'll have the favorite part in the first 10 minutes of class, and then we'll jump right into lesson 17. And lesson 17 is still looking at leases. We're actually going to look at a lease itself, the different sections of a sample lease. Now, this is not what every lease looks like. It's just a sample one for a month-to-month lease. And then you're going to look at researching, trying to find apartments, and then actually writing up a lease that's in the back of your unit. So there is a blank lease, and it's called the additional handouts section, the very back of Unit 4. We're going to be using that on Monday, and then we'll keep going. Remember, right now I'm not going to Satchko Lake. That still could change, but I'm not going, so we will have class all next week, and we'll get everything done then. Any questions, give me a call. I'll be in the office all day tomorrow, and then back in the office on Monday. Other than that, if everyone has a good weekend, and I will talk to everyone again at the same time on Monday. Till then, have a good night, miigwech, and bye for now.